When you became a mom, you probably had this vision of slow days, crafting homemade Halloween costumes, making wonderful home-cooked meals from scratch. But is that how you see motherhood now? Or has it transformed into this unrealistic image of being a super mom that's overwhelming your soul? Well, today we're going to redefine motherhood in your terms. Motherhood is wonderful, but hard enough on its own without the world telling us what makes a perfect mom. It's important that we recognize our season of life and the mom that we want to be, not what society tells us that we need to be. So let's take a look at some of those things that are the norm in motherhood and discuss solutions that best suit you and your family. One of the things is challenging traditional gender roles and the idea of shared parenting. Traditionally, moms are the primary caregivers. And back in the day, mom usually stayed at home and focused on, the home and raising the kids while dad went to work. But now in our day and age, many moms work and the roles haven't really shifted from that. So it's like mom is still primary caregiver and also works while dad just works. Now, a lot of people have actually done a really good job of connecting with their partner and talking about what that looks like and kind of balancing the scales a little bit on who does what in the family and in the home. But if you are in a situation where you are having to work and you are still basically the primary caregiver while dad goes off and does other stuff, then try and have a conversation about what that looks like and what your duties are versus his duties, and then maybe how they could be split up a little bit better or more helpful to support the family well. It also isn't wrong for mom to be the breadwinner and for dad to be the stay-at-home dad. This really just depends on your personality and what you value. I tried being a stay-at-home mom with my first kid, and I loved it for a few months, but I quickly found that I love working. I love doing something and being productive. And so stay-at-home life wasn't for me. Some moms love working and some dads love being at home with their kids. So have that conversation with personality traits in mind as well. Don't feel guilty for being wired a certain way. We are all made uniquely for a reason, because when we are really tuned in to our personalities and what we're gifted in, then we can serve society as a whole a lot better than trying to be someone else that we're not. All right, the next thing is breaking stereotypes and expectations. The first thing is we don't have to be perfect. I don't even know where this came from. I guess maybe social media and just kind of comparing ourselves to other moms and going, oh, well, she clearly has it together and my life's falling apart. There is no parenting handbook, despite all the parenting books that are out on the market today. Every family is unique, and what works for one family is not necessarily going to work for another. Take feeding our babies. There is a lot of debate on what is the best or the right way to feed our kids. But that's part of us all being made uniquely. Some mothers cannot produce breast milk, so obviously they can't nurse and they have to go and feed their babies with formula. Not wrong. Or some moms choose to stop breastfeeding because of their own mental health and they need to get that sleep because they're constantly feeding all the time. It is what works best for you and to make sure that you are okay mentally and physically so that you can serve your family well too. But just because we do something different from another mom doesn't make us bad or a failure. It means we're all in a different season and a different space. Some moms may be able to feed all their kids, homemade, organically grown food that they mashed up themselves, but other moms might be struggling to make ends meet and can't afford organic food. It doesn't make them wrong. It doesn't make it bad or, like I said, a failure. Just keep in mind, there isn't a perfect mom. There isn't a perfect parenting handbook out there. We're all trying to figure out what works best for our family. The next thing is asking for help. I don't know what it is about moms, and we're just ingrained to think we have to do it ourselves. But every single mom that I've ever talked to, myself included, has had trouble with being able to ask for help or feeling like we're imposing on other people by asking for help. Which is so funny because the saying is, it takes a village. It literally takes a village to raise our kids. We can't always keep an eye on them, make sure, when they're off at somebody else's house that they're doing and saying the right things, or even shuttling them around to extracurriculars. We probably need help in our village to make that happen. So it's okay to ask for help. We need to ask for help for our own sanity and for our family's well-being. We are not weak. I repeat, we are not weak for asking for help. In fact, I love and I tell people, thank you so much for asking me to help you. Whenever somebody reaches out and says, hey, I know this is, they always preface it with, I know it's a burden and, feel free to say no if you can't do it, but could you watch my kids for a little bit while I do this? And I'm like, yes, please. I would love to do that. I would love to serve you in that way. And most people would love to serve you by doing whatever you need for help. Again, it just makes me overjoyed when a friend reaches out and is brave enough to say, I need help with this, and I love to step in when I'm able to. On the flip side, if you are in a good spot in your parenting journey and you're like, life is great, then I would encourage you to offer help to a friend. But be specific in how you're offering help. Send a text and say, hey, I was just thinking about you. I would love to bring you dinner tomorrow at 6. Text me back an order that you would want from Chick-fil-A. That way, they know, okay, hey, it's going to be tomorrow. They're going to bring it around 6 and it's going to be from Chick-fil-A. So I don't have to make all those decisions or text back and forth about, that time doesn't really, what time would work best? Obviously, they can make changes to whatever you offer, but that's still very helpful to just have a specific, hey, tomorrow I'm free from 9 to 1. Can I steal your kids so that you can go run errands or take a nap or do something by yourself that you want to do? This can be a huge blessing to moms. Even if it doesn't seem like a big deal, I promise you it is a big deal. And don't fall into the trap that because they haven't asked you for help and because they are posting all these fun, awesome pictures on social media, that their life is great. Because you know from experience that even though it looks great on the outside, things are real crazy at home behind closed doors. So if you are able to offer help to a friend when you can. Another part of breaking stereotypes is embracing diversity and supporting all family structures. This goes back to we are all unique and we are all playing a different role in society. Motherhood differs greatly depending on culture, religion, lifestyles, and personal choices. And there's not a correct one way to parent or to be a mother. It's important that we acknowledge and support diverse family structures, including single moms, LGBTQ parents, and non-traditional family units. Now, this doesn't mean we have to agree with everybody and how they are choosing to build their family and their own personal lifestyle choices. But again, life is already so hard without us throwing in our own judgment about what's right and wrong, what's okay, what's not okay, especially when we probably don't know much about their situation. We are all doing the best that we can. Let's support and encourage each other instead of tearing each other down. The next thing I want to touch on is empowering moms to make individual choices and focusing on autonomy and parenting. This sort of goes back to there's not one way to parent. There's not one way to be the perfect mom. It just doesn't exist. And we should be encouraging moms to make decisions about their family and their kids based on their unique values, circumstances, and needs of their kids, and not on societal expectations. Now, if you see a mom that's doing something that you really do feel is harmful or abusive or just, I don't know, something along those lines, I would encourage open dialogue. Don't go in accusing, because you don't know the situation. You don't know what has been going on behind the scenes that whole time. But open up that conversation to explore what is going on. How can you best help them and support them? Because again, you never know when somebody's just having a bad day and yelling at their kids because they just reached their maximum. Doesn't mean they're being abusive or being, negligent. You need to call DFACS on them. Just point out like, hey, you doing okay? Is there something I can help with? Can I take the kid off your hands for a second while you just take a few minutes to decompress a little bit? There's always more to the story than we think. Another thing with empowering moms to make choices is the freedom to pursue our personal goals. Again, there's this kind of just norm of, hey, when you're a mom, like anything that you want goes out the window and it's all about your kids. And while yes, a lot of it is about our kids and making sure that they are surviving and thriving, we do still have the ability to pursue our own personal or professional goals. And again, this goes back to there isn't one perfect way to parent. We have all been uniquely gifted our kids because God knew that we were the perfect moms for our specific kids. But we might not be the perfect mom for other people's kids. So be supportive, be encouraging, cheer other moms on, regardless of how you feel that you would have approached a situation. Not everybody has to put everything on the line for their kids in their motherhood journey. We have to take care of ourselves too in order to be the best mom that we can be. The next thing is redefining success and fulfillment in motherhood. Success in motherhood is not that our kids, got all these trophies and awards from school and they were honor students and they weren't one of those kids that went and shot up a school. It's not also about that you were able to fulfill the traditional role of being a stay-at-home mom, crafting those perfect Halloween costumes and making those homemade meals from scratch every single day. We need to broaden our success metrics. Do our kids feel loved? Do they feel valuable and supported in our family? Do we focus on our own well-being and personal growth and fulfillment? Like growing in that area for ourselves is a win and a success in motherhood. We also want to prioritize mental health. This is a huge thing nowadays, especially with just all the anxiety from different situations, from social media as well, and just not living up to societal expectations or feeling good enough. So it's important that we are prioritizing self-care for our own well-being so that we can be great moms to our kids. And lastly, I just want to kind of bring back again, remembering to not be judgmental about other moms and how they are choosing to parent their kids. We all have different parenting styles and approaches. I know, especially like with the issue of spanking, like there's some people that's like, well, I was spanked as a kid and look at me now. Whereas other moms are hardcore against spanking, and I understand both sides of the situation. But because one person chooses to parent a certain way that's different from yours, doesn't make them a bad parent. It doesn't make them any less of a parent. It just means they're different, and that is okay. We all have something that we can learn from each other, and we all value different things, and our personalities are inclined in different ways. So be sure to keep an open mind as you're talking to other moms, to not belittle or put them down for their thoughts, their opinions, their ways that they approach motherhood, and also to keep an open mind that maybe you could learn something from other moms and what they're doing and go, oh, that aligns with my values and my personality. Maybe I can give that a try. But what we don't want is to think that we are the perfect parent, because nobody is. I'm here to tell you, nobody is. Even you. Sorry, mama. Motherhood is hard. So let's be sure that we are cheering each other on and building each other up and not tearing each other down. I'd love for you to come follow me over on Instagram if you haven't already, where I share time-saving tips and ways that you can build presence with your family. See you next time.